And for listeners want to pursue a career in data engineering, what's the key skills and qualifications they should develop, learn? Because obviously it's evolving.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's an interesting phase. Obviously, I think the first thing I would say is not, again, not discouraging people, but I think you need to have passion. I think there's a certain passion for data that you need to have, and if it's an area for you, then the skills that I would tend to invest in is the, and it's become more and more relevant and important now in this today's day and age in the ecosystem, is the foundations of programming. I think you need to understand basics of programming and how to build, right? You don't have to be the expert coder, but the foundations of writing good code, I think, is important, because things like Python, Java, Scala becomes like first class citizen in this space, right? So knowing that is important, I feel. So foundational in programming. SQL, non-negotiable. I think you need to understand SQL, not just writing SQL, like how does SQL work and being able to efficiently. A lot of tools will generate SQL for you, write SQL for you, but if you don't understand the 101 of it, I think you can be a very good engineer in this space, is how I personally believe. Learn about data architecture, learn about things like data modeling, which are very foundational to engineering advice, right? If you understand how you're going to structure the data, that's like such a key aspect of being successful. Infrastructure, we loosely talked about a lot of tool technology. In fact, I think the whole cloud platforms are infrastructure foundational. I don't feel you need to be a master in it, but you need to understand this space and understand the components relatively well if you want to be successful or grow. This is especially if you want to grow further, not just get in. I think it probably may not be as relevant on day one when you get in. Data pipeline tools, technologies tend to stay relevant. So I would say that pay attention to those. And just basic com science, right? Basic com science is still relevant. I know things that studied go still stay relevant. Tools, technologies come, but the fundamentals never change. So those fundamentals of programming and that are taught in school, I think studying com science, I feel, as well. Pursuing some form of com science courses, whether that's your major or not, is secondary. Learning that and then building on these skills is the right way to bring in. And then obviously the soft skills around communication, problem solving, and adaptability are crucial. Last, I would say, I believe for a data engineer to be successful, you develop all these skills and capabilities, but the more important thing, which is where I started, I feel the most important thing is you need to have passion for the data domain, right? You need to have passion to work with data problems, and to complement it, you need to understand the business. What are you trying to do is such a core aspect to being a successful data engineer, right? If you don't understand the business outcome or what that business capability is, you tend to end up building solutions that are either too complex, too siloed, or sometimes just take too long to build. So I feel I always mentor a few people, and I always encourage them that we are in that world where unless you're going into very deep com science problems where you're building com science, and that there's a space for that. But if you're using data for a business benefit, learning business or domains is equally important. Just pay some attention to.
Yeah, no, obviously, yeah. Passion does. If you love what you work, you're gonna just put that extra oomph, aren't you? In. But so obviously, yeah, interesting point you made about the domains, because data engineering is quite a techie area. Do you think it's going to evolve into more? Say it's a financial services company, you need data engineering skills and the financial services domain expertise. Do you think it's going to evolve like that? Because data is getting more together with the business, isn't it? So do you think to have that
100%.
knowledge?
I 100% feel it's already there. I think successful companies, the companies that I've worked on in financial services already have blurred that line between business and technology. Technologists getting hired on the business side, business folks getting hired on the technology side, and it's really the successful companies figure out how to break that wall between you write the BRD, you ship it over, engineering will do design, and I think it's the partnership. The successful projects have all these folks in one team. And so if you are coming still from an engineering perspective, being able to work with somebody who comes with a strong business background, being able to even communicate and explain certain concepts and understand their concepts becomes very relevant. So you'll be successful
Mm-hmm.
if you're able to almost communicate. You don't have to be the financial expert, but I think some fundamental understanding of some fundamental concepts, financial
Mm-hmm.
services become interesting. The other I would say is there's so much disruption going on, right? I think this is where I say there are combination of skills that probably traditionally we've never thought about one person following pursuing. Can you think of a comp science guy and somebody doing something in the medical field, or a comp science guy and a lawyer? I think these are never like talked about in the same sentence, but if you think about the amount of disruption that's happening in the health industry, or disruption that probably happens in the legal space, people who are going to be successful need to understand both sides, right? To even come up with a technical engineering solution. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't know the business problem or what's possible, you're going to struggle. So again, those are going to be far and few where they're experts on both sides. But for you to be
Mm-hmm.
successful, you need to be able to communicate and understand some of these
Yeah.
terms and technologies. And so spend some time. You don't want to scare people saying you have to get experts in all these areas. But I think being passionate about, if you hear a term from a business, ask the question. Or there are tools like Ask Gemini or something like that. What is it? Like, you have so much tools. Be curious and learn and build that knowledge base.
Mm-hmm. No, brilliant, cool. Good insights there, because obviously I've seen it with especially like data scientist roles we've had in the insurance sector. Like they're now not just like techie data scientists; they want the product experience, the insurance domain, the actuary knowledge. It's all like getting more into the business side of things. So it's good insights you shared on data
Yeah.
engineering, because that's quite techie, but obviously that's seems like it will be more evolve into that type of work as well, like getting more domain focused.
Because I think you can architect and engineer things better if you understand what these
Yeah.
data scientists are going to do. I talked about understanding the access patterns, or what if upfront, what is this critical within that domain, what are these critical entities that I want to, that when I do the model, when I do the engineering, I would do a much better job versus I treat all of this. So that's where I think it helps. I think it have, you grow over a period of time, but people want to grow in this career, being in I think, like I said, I don't want to say that's like the thing to get into the
Mm,
field. I think some of the basics are enough, but to grow into this field, this is going to
mm.
be extremely important in my mind.
Brilliant. Cool. Well, that's brilliant to have you on the podcast, and you've shared some great information and some brilliant insights for the audience.
Oh, I appreciate Ben for having me. I enjoyed this conversation as well, and uh, look forward to how the feedback goes.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time.
Take care, Ben. Thank you.